Hey, so I'm gonna do some weeding of our newly planted beds here in the hoop house. And these beds here, we have some beets and radishes planted together. Now, I like this combo because these radishes are faster to harvest, and these beets take a little bit while longer. Now, after we harvest the radishes, we can put in tomatoes. But before we get into our succession planting, we got to do some weeding. Now, these here are beet seedlings. All right, and this here is a common weed that sort of looks like beets, especially when they're smaller. So it's a little bit similar but different. So we want to keep these beets. Now, the best weeding tool really for these small seedlings is by hand, especially as you get to know the plants and all that. But then we can grab some other tools to help us, such as my favorite hand tool, cobra head. So these cobra heads here, you can use the edge of them. Forgive me if my camera recording abilities. We can gently just kind of shave the soil. Notice I kind of covered some of the soil there with the beet. That's not a problem. And you can untuck it. So some of these ones you can go a little bit deeper. And this is one of the reasons that we like to plant in nice straight rows. Now, the radishes are also faster to germinate, so we could use those as what we call an indicator crop, meaning plant the radishes, a few radishes in a bed of beets. As soon as you see the radishes come up, then you could flame weed the bed. And then before the beets come up, or the carrots. Beets are a good thing to plant with carrots as an indicator crop. Yeah, so then we have a couple other kinds of weeding tools. This one here is called a stirrup hoe, or a hula hoe. But the idea is, yeah, you just want to kind of scrape the soil. So when we're doing our pathways, you can get pretty close to the plants, and you avoid this drip tubing. If you're really careful, you can go right up and down the row. It's a little bit difficult with one hand, but you get the idea. Very gentle, really not trying to disturb the soil at all. So some of these grasses are a little bit more difficult, a little bit more extensive, so maybe you do need to go a little bit deeper for these, or come in with the cobra head. Better yet, cobra head. So that's sort of how this one works. Then we have a similar tool, similar concept, collinear hoe. Now these ones kind of do the same thing. It's like a mixture between the cobra head and the stirrup hoe there. So you can use the sides there, get close, or using your hands is kind of nice, but you can just go right down the row. It's just like a gentle back scratch, really. here. We got a few more weeds. So I actually usually like to work backwards, and I know this row of radishes helps me sort of align the beets. These beets can be hard to tell the difference between the weeds, but they are in straight lines, so we can use that to our advantage in telling us how to weed. So now take a close look. See, those are the beets. These are the weeds. So once I know that, I can just go in a straight line first and be really rough with it. Honestly, I'm not even looking where I'm going. I'm looking at the camera frame. But it's not going to get all the ones in the row, but it's sort of straight line cultivation. You do the same thing with the tool. Look close, see, here's my beets. There's the weeds. And it's going really shallow. It's much easier to get these weeds when they're this size. Stay up on the weeds. See, you got a lot of them there. Now, these beds have a bit more weeds in them because I did just dig out these walkways to help with the drainage. They usually wouldn't have this much weed pressure anyway. Disturb the soil as little as possible. Alright, so here we got a bed of turnips. Germination could have been a little bit better. Got a little bit dry towards the end there. Got to water just a little bit more. Don't have these drip lines on. But anyway, now we got to weed them. It's always best to weed on a dry bed. Now, here's some turnips. And again, these are the weeds. This one's a lot easier to tell. Now, this would be my tool of choice. I like to, well, we want to make sure that we have even rows. This one's a little bit off, which makes it a little bit more difficult to use tools. Because if the consistency is even, then you can just walk straight up and down. You have the exact path. Now, it's not that big of a deal. Well, I would probably go get the co-linear hoe for this middle one. It's a little bit narrow for the stirrup hoe. Co-linear hoe. But right, just go up and down the bed. And you just go really gentle. Doing this even though you don't see too many weeds from afar, it really is getting a bunch of them that are just germinated. And you don't want to hold the stirrup hoe upside down like that. This is a good one to do the walkways. We've already did this one. But you can dig in a little bit more intensely, especially for these grasses here. They have a lot of rhizomes. These ones, you can really get in there. Overhead would be the best. But we need to come back through here with a raker or something like that. Now you see the size of the beds here. Try not to walk in the drip tape like I'm doing this, but I want to be real gentle. I want to hold this side, not to disturb it too much, before we can get some wood chips in here like we have in the other hoop houses. Right, just like that. Now these turnips are a little bit dense. We need to come through here again and thin these out, because you imagine you want a big turnip, they need room to grow. These are just too dense here. So I'm going to do that another time. Just like that, down the row. And I'm just sort of jumping around here, but you'd want to do the full bed at a time in these two hands. Let's see if so when you're doing this weeding, best to use 2 hands. Just go really lightly, just walk back and forth sort of quickly down the row. And anytime I press on the drip tape, I want to make sure that I'm going away from where it's connected at. I got it too. So up and down the rows. So that's how you weed turnips in real time. It's best to do them when they're small and often, and then it's really quick and easy. Alright, so here we're going to see one of the most difficult crops, I think, to germinate and get established because of the time it takes to germinate, and also, well, it looks sort of like a grass, and that's carrots. So these here are carrots. You know, these take a few weeks to come up. This bed's a little bit dry, actually. You can sort of see the rows. If I switch it to that, you can see the rows a little bit. Now, these ones have yet to form their true leaf. These are still what you call cotyledon. Alright, and so these leaves, I like to think of them like little bunny ears. Alright, and they're really even. Now, these ones do have their true leaves, and so you can see after the little bunny ears, they get that center, that's their true leaf. Alright, so here we actually have some tomato seedlings along with the carrots. These ones weren't intentional. Okay. See that the tomato seedlings are a little bit fuzzier. Now, if you ever just mess around in your home garden, go ahead and leave these. But this lets me know that it's time that I can transplant tomatoes in here. When the tomatoes are germinating, when the volunteers are coming, then we can put our tomato plants in here, and we can put them right in the same bed with these carrots. Now, these grasses, when they're small, they can sort of look like the carrots, but they're always a little asymmetrical. All right, so they're always a little bit off. All right. Now this is a weed here where we got these big bunny ears. Here's a old lettuce friend. Now, common weed. Now I went through here and weeded this last week, and it's actually a little bit dry. I haven't been watering much. Wanted to see, because we have so much water in our clay here, I want to see how much would percolate up. And I think it's doing okay, but I do need to water it. But when it's dry, it's the best time to weed it. So I'm not going to water it yet. So we can use our handy cobra head here and go up and down the rows. I know I have 4 rows planted here, so when you do that, you can kind of go in a little bit blind, as long as you know where the straight lines are. Then it's easier. All right, so in this wide angle shot, you might not be able to see the little carrots, but rest assured, if you go close, the baby seedlings are there. So here's a couple weeding techniques that I'll show you how we just do in real time. This here is a collinear hoe. I can just go right up and down the road. It's really flat, really gentle. The more even your rows are, the easier this is to do. But you can sort of turn the angle of the hoe there depending on how much ground you want to cover. Alright, so that's one tool. Now, one of my recent favorite tools are these groundskeeper rakes. These groundskeeper rakes, it seems kind of crazy. You can just go right over the beds. Especially for carrots with deep roots. It doesn't hurt the carrots, and it gets a lot of the baby weeds. Now, you'll still need to go through, maybe with the cobra head, you have any deep-seated lettuce or other weeds of that nature in the bed. But yeah, if you stay on top of your weeds, they're pretty easy.